participated in this 2016. Yeah. So dementia is actually a global challenge, and today there are about 57 million people living with dementia, of which 70% are living in low and middle income countries. And every year there are 10 million new cases, at least at the rate of 1 in every 3 seconds. So when we are facing the COVID pandemic now and we're looking at numbers rising, it can't compare with people having dementia. And, and the numbers are increasing. Now, bearing in mind that 57 million people are globally, tapi 23 million are in the Asia Pacific region where we are at. Yeah. And from this, 3.5 million in the Southeast Asia where we are even at. Yeah. So, but we know that, and we also believe that these numbers are 2 to 3 times higher. Yeah. Especially in Brunei, with the prevalence of non-communicable diseases, our dementia type is on the vascular dementia rather than Alzheimer's. While in World Dementia Month, we're looking into no dementia and no Alzheimer's. People will be asking what is dementia and what is Alzheimer's. Yeah, I would just want to say that you can look it up, but dementia is an umbrella of many forms of dementia, and one of them is Alzheimer's. Yeah. So next. Next. Okay. As I was saying just now, dementia is not a natural process of aging. It is the 7th leading cause of death and one of the major causes of disability and dependency among older people globally. Yeah. By the end of this decade, the number of people 60 years old and older will go to 1.4 billion. And by 20 years' time, in 2050, the global population of older people will more than double, which is 2.1 billion. The number of population globally today is 9 million. So that's a huge number. Yeah? As I said earlier, Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, and it contributes to 60-70% of the known cases today. Next. Now, I have a slide which I find very useful for people to understand what is Alzheimer's disease and how it affects the brain, which is in 3 minutes. Yeah. But I understand, I think there's a technical glitch with the video here. I put up a link where you can actually look into it yourself, or you can Google understand Alzheimer's disease in 3 minutes, and you'll know all about it and have a better understanding how it affects the brain and why certain behaviors, are seen in people with dementia. Next. Yeah. As I said, my topic today is on dementia-friendly and inclusive communities. Now, it has come to my attention when I attend international communities. There are people talking about dementia-friendly, youth-friendly, age-friendly, semua-friendly. Yeah. Tapi I like to say that we are all living in the same world. We are all in a family of grandparents right down to the youth. I like to call it inclusive. And I like to explain why. Yeah. So what is an inclusive community? Yeah. It is a place where all citizens are respected. Yeah. They give them full access to resources and support and equal treatment and opportunity. Yeah. And what we do in an inclusive community is we want to eliminate all forms of discrimination and stigma, especially for dementia. There's a lot of stigma. When people hear you've got dementia, immediately people think, this person is odd, is weird, It's not so. We are all unique and we all have different behaviors. And an inclusive community wants to engage all its people in decision-making process that affects their life. We don't decide for anyone or any person because that person would know what they want and what they would like. So this is where I always use the phrase, nothing about us without us, until you ask me what I like and what I don't like, you can't decide for me. Yeah. And it's also an inclusive community is also a place where it values diversity, because in every community, even in Brunei, anywhere in the world, there are many people with many cultures, religions, creed, and we ought to respect that. Yeah. Next. And what is a community inclusion and why is it important? It is essential is because it enriches the lives of our family members, not only ourselves, and it is also stimulating to want to know more of someone who is different from you, and we interact to find out more. It also means that we learn from each other, and also the potential employment and in our daily living. Like for example, if you have someone coming from Iceland, you'll be curious, hey, what is it like in Iceland, when you're living in Brunei, things like that. So it is important to include someone who is not typical not typical Brunei, and find out more and accept them for what they are, because we live differently. Yeah. Next. And what is an example of social inclusion? Yeah. So example is relieving in poverty or sickness or in old age, either a ministry or an organization or a community will concentrate on building the capacity of the people in poverty, whether you're sick, you're old, or you're poor, to enable them that they can be part of us. Yeah. In also addressing their needs and promoting including them into it. We don't separate people, from an inclusive society. In DB's cause, in our cause of voicing and raising awareness of dementia, in the support of people living with dementia, the carers and their families, in active aging and youth volunteerism, this is where we include them, where Dementia Brunei is concerned. Yeah. Next. And what makes it an inclusive society and a community? It is empowering and promoting the social, the economic, the political of all, yeah, irrespective of age, your gender, disability, your race, your ethnicity, your origin, your religion, your economic status, and many others, especially disability, yeah. It is a society that, remember this, leaves no one behind. Yeah, next. All right. In the Asia Pacific region, where Dementia Brunei is part of ADI, we have progressed since 2016 to become dementia friendly. And for me, as an inclusive community, because I believe when you can aspire to support people with dementia, you can support many other people. Yeah, because dementia, I think, is one of the most difficult cause to support in a sense. Yeah, because we are all unique individuals. So in Asia Pacific, Singapore and Taiwan has started a memory cafe where they actually hire people with dementia to work so that they feel respected, they feel that they could have employment. Yeah. And in Taiwan and in Brunei, Taiwan in churches, Brunei in suraus, under General Gaya and many of you all. Yeah. In Australia, they've made public areas like libraries, and even museums dementia friendly. In Malaysia, I established a shopping mall to be dementia friendly. In Hong Kong, a bank, HSBC. I like BIBD and Baiduri Bank to be dementia friendly as well. We're in talks until COVID came about, but rest assured I'll follow up. Okay, like in South Korea, they have a national helpline and they even have guardianship, because they found out that many people who are older, who have dementia, who are single or have been not cared for by their families, So the state takes guardianship of it, yeah. In Japan, they have a national dementia education plan called the Orange Plan. Google it, you find it interesting, because everybody in all levels of societies will have to go through this course of understanding what it is to be trained in it and what you must do, which is interesting. In Brunei, we gave training to DART, for DART drivers, so that they can understand and assist people with dementia and their carers to go about. And of course, under youth engagement program since 2019, when I first established the initiative, We have Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand now more active into it, and Japan, who has joined us today, are looking into this as well. Yeah, next. Yeah, okay. One of the examples I was illustrating earlier was in Malaysia, which I established in 2017, which is the Atria-ADFM Community Corner, where I was the former Honorary Secretary. We launched this in World Alzheimer's Month in 2017. It is a pilot NGO and a corporate partnership initiative. It's been discussed how it's done, the activities, and what are the outcomes. And I'm proud to say that it's the first in Asia Pacific region, but a few are coming up which I am in discussion with. And I hope in Brunei, we'll be following up as well. Yeah, next. All right, this will be quick because it'll be images. Yep. When I first started the mall, it was to prepare ourselves at all life stage to age actively. We wanted to manage the ownership of our own health and well-being. At the same time, we want to reduce the risk of dementia as well by being ambassadors ourselves. And we want to gift, the future generations a legacy of health and well-being. Yeah. So next. So these are some of this is the actual mall itself, some of the activities we have and supported by the mall. We've got live music on weekends and holidays. We have a dementia walk during September. We have health talks. Next. Yeah. We do Sunday exercises with elderly people with dementia, and everyone is invited. You can see a young person there. You're all invited. That while we say it's an elderly exercise, but all families are in because we want them to be close knitted. Yeah, next. We have storytelling, we have talks. Next. Yeah, this is some of the programs. Next. Once a while, we take them out for outings, and we're assisted by student volunteers as well, just like you all, to gardens and things like that. Next. Okay, we work in the month of March, we work at University of Malaya students on Brain Awareness Week. So the whole month we have activities. Next. These are some of the people with dementia where we engage them in golf, in cooking, in coloring and things like that. So they have some outing as well with their carers and they get respite. Next. Okay, we work with the mall in some of the school break programs like the Asia Spring Camp for young children and the Step Up for youth, so that they find out more of dementia and they age actively as well. Next. I work in October. We have not only the International Older Persons Day, but Universal Children's Day, and I work with the big ones, little ones on this project. Next. We had a program where we had 4 generations joining us from grandpa, atuk, nini, right down to young children, on art and storytelling. And I have a friend from Australia coming in to conduct it, Miss Trish Amici. Next. Yeah, you can see we all work on an art piece, people with dementia, their carers, young and old. Next. Yeah, and I'd like to say that as part of an inclusive community, they are part of the community too. So remember me. Next. Under the World Alzheimer's Report last year, we talked about the dignity of and design for people living with dementia. Read this report. We won a report, and the Atrium Mall is actually one of the case studies that was in this report, which I'm proud of. And like I say, in design and where we live as an inclusive society, all designs are thinking of everybody from disability to people with dementia should never be an afterthought. It should be all in what Scully goes. Yeah. Next. In my next topic, I'm talking about youth engagement programs, and I'd like youth to join me, and I'll tell you more about some of my projects. Next. All right. In this World Dementia Month, I'd like to thank Brandon for sharing his story, and some of you, on your work with Dementia Brunei, and especially Brandon with his grandma. We enjoyed it, and we're now famous all over our network. Next. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Yeah. Ada. Okay. As I said, in the Asia Pacific Regional Conference, we started a 2-day youth engagement program. And that's a link as well where you can go into to see some of these young people and youth sharing their stories on dementia and aging people. And this was in 2019. In 2020, we shared on the international level. We had a YEP symposium where we had 4 ASEAN presenters. We started with 25 countries where we had 300 participants in Malaysia. But because it's virtual, we were able to reach more. We had 120 people and 1,600 participants joining us. And next. This year in 2021, we managed to organize a New Age Learner virtual conference, Building the Future with Generation Z, aging from 9 to 25. And we managed to have 50 over 1,000 youth participants and young carers from all over the world with the assistance of the Commonwealth. We hope next year ASEAN will join us. I've put in the hashtags and link as well, which you can look into it. Brunei perhaps could be represented by a speaker next year. Yeah, next. I like to say that you are our youth today, but how you live and how well you live as well would also determine what you will be in your later years. Yeah. So I like to remember you because according to statistics and data, 1 in 3 of us will be developing dementia in our later years. So remember that. Yeah. Next. All right. So it's just 2 days ago that Demensia Brunei and ADI shared in the ASEAN SOMI, which is a youth program, where we're looking into initiatives in the second youth plan, 2021 to 2025. I'm pleased to say that Demensia Brunei is one of the leads in this project. So I hope a lot of the volunteers would like to join us and share your initiatives as well. Next. All right. I'd like to just very quickly share with you some of the youth engagement program that Brunei has already been running since the Dementia Brunei came to be in 2018 and involved them. Next. Very quickly, I think some of these images are very familiar to you. There was a National Youth Day that we were, presenting to His Majesty. We had a Train the Trainer program in 2017. We work with our Goodwill Ambassador, Ruchun, which you're all familiar with as well. Next. We have Train the Trainers. We have Dementia Care Skills. We also participate in Bandaku Ceria, and we did our first Dementia Care Skills training with Pembela Youth. And I think this was led by our Vice President, Puan Erna, and Mazato, whom you all are very familiar with. Next. Okay, we do road shows with the Health Promotion Center, MOH. We made our cause known in Malechko. We were on radio talk shows, and I believe Puan Erna was also in the RTB recently. Mazato is our Dementia Friends Champion Brunei. Find out more from her. Next. Okay, these are our Pembela youth, first batch training with youth. Next. Okay, and during the first wave of COVID, many of our youth have also stepped up to help, with some of the services, like for example, quarantine, isolation logistics, blood donation drive, food and PPE supplies. Next. Helping with the distribution of food and basic supplies and looking into restrictive travel of discrete border checks and so much more. Next. And helping with the cleaning of public places and in mosques and so on and so forth, and in homes. Next. And in this World Dementia Month, like I say, thank you to Brandon sharing your story with your grandma. He said, "You may not remember me, but one day, and some days it may be harder than others, but for now, it may be hard and temporary, but the good moments will always become extra precious." And I detailed that as a former carer for my parents-in-law. It can be hard, but it can be very rewarding and fulfilling to what lead me to what I'm doing today. Yeah, caring for them has become my knowledge and experience of sharing with people today and how I could contribute to the community. Next. Thank you so much. We have this phrase in Malay in Brunei where Dementia Brunei has used it, sayangi orang muda, hormati orang tua. For those who would want to know what it is in English, it means while we love our youth, we must respect our elders as well. Thank you. Right. I think we're now at the Q&A session. I sort of ran through very quickly on my slides, but I always feel that picture paints 1,000 words. Happy to answer any questions you have. Right.
If you guys have any questions.
I've got a couple of questions, Jackie, if that's all right.
Yep, sure.
So the first thing is, I found the mall quite an inspiring story, actually, because a lot of our older people, they're a bit reluctant to go out.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, now with the COVID situation, they are less likely to go out. Can I just ask in terms of the COVID situation in Malaysia and how that's affected the mall programs and what's your suggested way forward?
I did, as you are well aware, Shipo, in our ADI membership WhatsApp, we have members sometimes emailing, calling for help, what do you all do, and things like that. So what some of us did was we do some of these virtual programs virtually, especially the Sunday exercises. Our yoga and trainers, take turns to conduct, and keep to the program on Sunday and having the yoga exercises online. But again, and this requires the help of your family members as well, because we also find out that a number of elderly may not be having smartphones, or having knowledge in the computer or having an iPad and things like that. So you will need the assistance of your grandchildren or your family members to assist you and share with you, on how to open it and do it. And I always find this very useful because I think this is a time where in COVID, when you're staying in as a whole family, you do things together, So not only does the elderly person or person with dementia having the exercise, but the family as well follows with you because we can't go out, yeah. And at the same time, most of the things I'm talking about Malaysia and the mall, because we work with the business partners of the mall. I've made arrangements for them, especially on the first week, where everything was just so immediate, to come out with buying online and having online sales. And while we allowed one person out to buy groceries and things like that, we also found out, especially some of our people who joins us in the mall, they are older persons where they take care of an even older person with dementia. Yeah. So we came up, we formed a priority lane line. We even have personal shoppers so that you can get your things in the shortest time, and you have a personal shopper to help you, mana dapat gula, you go to the aisle, mana dapat ani. So a personal shopper from the particular grocery, like in this case, Jaya Just Go, will help you with your grocery, take you around, give you a priority lane to pay. And we also give this to frontliners and people who are actively involved in the COVID, helping with the COVID, pregnant mothers as well, elderlies, people above 60. We worked with Grab, to assist with giving priority to getting, people to emergencies or medical or grocery appointments as well. So all these were like in the midst of the 1 week, we had to make arrangements. Yeah. So because we're looking at a population of 32 million in Malaysia, there was so much number of panic, when it was announced we had a shutdown, and there was a huge queue in the supermarket, and you find elderly people queuing as well. So all these came about on the toes when you notice this. So in Malaysia, it worked, and we shared on Twitter as well, when other countries in Europe wanted the same. What do you do, because certain shops make people queue, and you're queuing like 3 to 6 feet apart. The queue will go around the block. So in Malaysia, we did exceedingly well in this way. We assisted in this. Yeah. Hope it answers you, Chico. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of the same like us, because I think we are stuck until the COVID situation settles. So we have to just stick with it. Online options, which can be a challenge. In terms of your mall, can you share with us how the journey started a little bit? Because we've got a few malls here, and then you've got the Atria, and then you've set it up quite well. So can you share with us, for example, how to start the process of achieving where you're
Right.
at now? Yeah.
All right. Thanks. This is very interesting. I joined Alzheimer's Disease Foundation of Malaysia in 2016. And I went to New Zealand, Wellington, for the first Alzheimer's University, which you did as well, Shipo, but yours was in London. Yeah. So during that time, it was when Glenn shared with us an establishment of a dementia-friendly community. To my understanding, prior that they have dementia villages where they put people with dementia in this specific, area, village, a kampong where everyone has dementia there. But it's, to me, like segregating them is not inclusive, kan? So when Glenn came up with this, it was like the universe putting everything together for me, because a week before, I'm a business person and I do publishing, and I work with Atria on some of the promotions. I was doing a story on them, and because I was in Atria, and the daycare is only operating Monday to Friday, I was thinking, like me, I'm a working person. Those were the days where Monday to Friday I'll be working. Saturday and Sundays were the only time I'm out getting my groceries and things like that. It's the only time that I can get information, on dementia to assist my parents-in-law. But I can't go to it because it's closed, and everybody congregates in the mall to do their stuff. So I spoke with Adrian and I said, would you have a corner, like an information counter and things like that, where I could put leaflets and where I could be there, and people would come and ask me and I could assist them and things like that. So they were asking, do you need a big space? I said, no, I just need a very small corner, and I identified it for them, and they said, we'll think about it. And the next week I left for Wellington, and when Glenn came up with this idea, and I was like, hey, I mean, this is something similar to what I've requested. So anyway, when I came back, I waited, and I was thinking, maybe my ask was too much. But not knowingly, they came back 2 months later and said, okay, Datin, look, we have this space and we hope you like it. Can you come with us? So they took me up there, and I was like, don't tell me they're going to put me in one corner. But when they showed me a space of 1,005 square feet, I'm like, oh, wow, how much am I going to pay for rental, And they said, oh, no, this is a community space for you, just for you, and you do with it what you want, And I was like, here I am asking for a small ask, but they saw it bigger and they gave me a whole space. So at that time, when I got to know it, we were doing the trainers in Brunei in 2017. So it was like a rush, Within a week, I had to put this up. But again, I had the idea within months when I asked what I want to do if I had that space, So we came about it. So Atria was really good as a corporate. They supported us with free rental, utilities, everything was provided as part of the CSR program to turn the entire mall into a dementia-friendly and inclusive neighborhood mall. So, and from that, it just grew, And of course, when we had people coming in, they would tell us about what is you need. But as a former carer of people with with dementia. My father-in-law had Alzheimer's. My mother-in-law had Parkinson's and vascular, but she was paralyzed from a major stroke. I had a tall order. I put my needs and wants as a carer into what I would want from the community center and the mall. Yeah. As a carer, I need respite. I care for people 24 hours. I don't have time for myself. And I was at breaking point. So I need that 1 hour at least in 1 week, where I can pamper myself and be better, so that I can care better. So a mall would be a place where I could do a manicure or a pedicure or wash my hair or cut my hair 1 hour, and I come back and I feel so much better because I did something for me as a carer, So same time, what happens to my in-laws who have dementia, because I'm caring for them. I need to put them somewhere, and I don't want them to coop up in the house because I need to eye on them. So I have a retired nurse, Bilan, as the community support in the community center, because as a retired nurse, she knew how to care for people who were disabled. She understood dementia, because in between that 1 hour, well, perhaps I'm cutting my hair, my father-in-law may want to go to the washroom. Yeah. So you would have somebody who knows about it to assist him to the bathroom, things like that, so that I would not be disturbed in that 1 hour where it's a me time. So all that I wanted, and in between, like for example, my father-in-law loved to do mahjong, but you can't cook everything up within like Sunday. So we do have Sudoku, mahjong, puzzles, and things like that within Monday to Fridays, where a carer can bring your person or your loved one with dementia or even be disabled to do your grocery, put them in the community center where Bilan takes care of, for an hour, and you do your thing, and they are amused by either art and craft, Sudoku, Scrabble, and things like that, because there will be, someone there to sort of look after you. And we have 4 schools around because it's a neighborhood mall. We were open to students coming to do their homework. As you noticed, we had storytelling, so we invite all other NGOs to use that space for their meetings, for the activities, so they find out more about dementia. Same time, we volunteers for people with dementia and their carers as well. So the mall actually worked, as to what for me as a former carer I wanted, but I did not have a decade ago. Yeah. It's very interesting where somebody said in a recent article in the Borneo Bulletin that experience is a great teacher. Tick, I agree. Yeah.
Datin, maybe you can share siapa yang menjaga, the Atria, and then do you actually have volunteers? Maybe it's good to share here.
Yeah, all right. Right. From Monday to Sunday, we actually have two community corner assistants. We have Dilan, and we used to have Laiha, and she commutes. And they take turns to go on leave. We have at least one person in the wall. And people, especially carers who wants to come and use the facilities, they will make appointments so that we don't want to overstress our assistants as well, because let's say, for example, you have suddenly 3 or 5 coming in at the same hour. Siapa kan layan kan? Who do you take care of? What if suddenly 3 wants to go to the bathroom? Yeah. So for carers who bring the person with dementia or who are disabled, who do have domestic help, we would want domestic help to stay with us so that they who take care of their charge know dia punya perangai, behaviors, what they like, what they don't like, and we learn about it, so that the more they're familiar with us, then they don't mind being left alone with us, But originally, we would want them there, and same time, we want to train the domestic helper and the carer as well, how to, to do this, so that when they can't come and they're at home, we would do a very similar exercise we do at the mall as well. Yeah. So for students, especially like in March, we share with the university students, and this is where they do their internship as well as public awareness. They volunteer for us in March. But for weekends, anyone and everyone is welcome to volunteer and join us. If you notice when we do our yoga exercises, myself or some of us, would help with the person with dementia because their legs are not very strong. Yeah. So we would help them and things like that. And the carers would do it themselves and they don't need to, take care of it because we're there to assist them because we want the carers to exercise themselves too, in the understanding that carers would have a very long time at home and they can't do much for themselves. Yeah. So with that training and with nursing and hiring retired nurses and people from all walks of life, we even have fitness, chi fitness volunteering, for us because they are fitness instructors. So they know how to do this. You'll be very surprised with the mall and the walk-in volunteers, who would sign in and say, okay, I'm free at 5 to 7 at Thursday or on Tuesday. So they would come, So when we don't have persons for them to care for, we would do discussions, Another thing that was important to us, and I didn't have, but we also put it in the mall, was carer support group. Sometimes this carer support group is very important because it's not just sembang. It's for carers who care for people to share and to also share for others to share their experience as well, because no one individual is the same, and sometimes what you face now could be new to you, but for me, I had that 10 years ago, and how I overcome it, for the good of the person and myself, So all these are very important, and we take turns to how do you say, to moderate it, So we would specify a certain time, like Saturday, for example, afternoons, where sometimes people work, lepas kerja, they come, spare 1 hour to talk. It could be talking about your charge, or it could just be talking just to release the stress, or to release what's troubling you, and you can't do this to any Tom, Dick, and Harry, or even a friend, because if they don't care, or they don't, not that they don't care for a person, they may not understand how sometimes difficult you are in your situation as a carer, So I found that carers would be more open to talk to you when they know that you're a carer or you have been a carer, because they know. You may not know 100%, but you know how difficult it is, and we tend to be more sensitive as well, to their requirements and their needs. So this is something I always encourage, while Atria is the only pilot, I'm in discussion with several malls actually who are interested in doing this. But from my experience, I also need to look at certain criteria, what works and what doesn't work, But we also need to understand the typical audience or the typical data group of that area, Like in Malaysia, it's so big. You have the kampung, you have the suburban, you got the urban, Even in urban, you got many types of target groups. So this is something, like I say, is through experience that you know what to do, Yeah, I hope it answers your question, Erin.
Yes, thank you, Datin. I'm also just wondering, and probably it also is a good thing to share with us today, because we know that being a caregiver or carer is not an easy task. As you said, maybe an hour is enough for you, but maybe for somebody else wouldn't be. So how did you manage that thing? Because you did not only took care of one, yeah. So I guess it's best to share it here, and because sometimes that thing we find it we want to share, but I don't know where to go. I don't know who to share with, And as you mentioned tadi, kalau sekiranya we as caregiver talk to caregiver, probably we faham each other. Tapi if we say to somebody else, probably they don't get it.
That's it. Yeah, they won't get it, or they may have this stigma where, okay, Anna is coming, I don't want to hear what she's got to say anymore. I've heard it once and twice, not the third,
Yeah.
and whereas a caregiver is different. I understand, maybe this is something we could start a virtual one, so we're in COVID now, and we're all over. We could do a caregivers and things like that. For myself, there were a few factors that gave me the strength of not giving up. There were times where it was difficult, as you said, that there were two and very different behaviors, one with Alzheimer's, one with vascular and Parkinson's. Yeah. My mother-in-law was easier in a sense because she had vascular and Parkinson's, and because she had a major stroke, she was paralyzed. So because she cannot move, it was easier because we knew where she was, and tending to her needs was so much more different because her feeding, turning her, bathing her. So there's a schedule. My father-in-law was different. He had Alzheimer's, but a very high functioning one. He drives. He was knocking his car, so many things. And he keeps calling me every other hour with the same question for the 8 years, And my telephone bills were really high because there's no such thing as WhatsApp at that time. He was all on phone, yeah. And same time, my children were growing up. They were very young teenagers. While now I realized that there's so many young carers out there who are facing the same burden while we adults have an issue. What more if they were young carers, So that's why I'm looking into this under the youth engagement program. I didn't want my girls to to be so involved at that time because they were busy in schools and they had a lot on them, because same time my late husband had cancer as well, so I was dealing with 3 people. But what I did was I had no choice but to go on because the young and the ill and the old were like depending on me, so giving up was not a choice for me. So what I did was I have this 30-second mantra, where I tell myself, breathe, what you experience today, if you think is hard, Allah won't be putting this on you if he thinks you cannot handle it, and when you do, it will be an experience to be contributing to somebody else, and it will make you stronger. So I keep telling this to myself when I feel I'm at breaking point, So this was my way of coping. One was I was the sole person that has to hold the family together, and there's no way that I can give up, because what will happen to my girls if, I decided to give up, and what will happen to my late husband at that time, and what will happen to my older people. So giving up was never a choice. Yeah. I had no one to talk to either, and that's why this carer support group was so important, where you can share. And when I talk to the carer support group now and I think back to what I had, I was so glad. My experience is like a traffic light, stop, stop, prepared to go or stop, and green, you can go, and be the tunjuk jalan, how to go. I may not know what you feel exactly right now, but I could say I understand, and that's enough for a carer, as long as you understand, because you will open your ears to listen, and we may not be able to give you the advice you need because we're not in your shoes, but just listening is good enough. Yeah. So we may want to, as Dementia Brunei, want to do a virtual carer support group every month, once a month. I'm open, let us know. I think that 30 minutes and 1 hour would help. Okay. I hope I answered your question. I still have my up and down, but I'm stronger now. It's true when they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I believe my teenage daughters at that time, now they are young women, they saw me going through it. They never understood then. I thought But now when they reveal to me the experience of seeing me then and now, I just realized that what I did actually made them stronger too as women. I didn't realize that, what I do that they observed, now that they're older and we're more like best friends now, they share, and sometimes when I have my, ups and downs, and they would share, and I just realized, hey, I thought youth didn't know much, yeah, but I'm wrong. They do know a lot. That's how I went into doing youth engagement programs. Like I say, I realized that there's not only adults who have the difficulty or burden of caregiving, but especially in Asia, we have this family unit where the young care for the older can. So can you? And I do know that both parents go out to work, and most times the grandparents stay at home and the younger children are there, like that in my case, yeah. So you would want them to understand the older person, and you want them to assist, and they themselves also learn from it, like how I learned from it, that my girls, their nutrition, the food they take, so on and so forth, are so much more healthier than what is served by my family at home, because tambah gula, tambah all this that you don't need, not eating very healthy, and my girls learn from eating more healthy, making better choice decisions, and they did it because they were teenagers, they knew, but now they know more and why, but at that time you just do that and say, makan tah, never mind, it's not sweet because it's good for you, that's what we say. But now they know why, because sugar adds to diabetic and so on and so forth. Can. But at that time, so that's why the youth engagement program was very important to me, because how I brought up my teenage daughters at that time, who are now young women, who are also very similar like me, that the youth these days, can do and move forward with what we nurture them in them today, you see, to be healthier so that they age health, more active, and they age healthier. In the same way, it's an early intervention of risk reducing dementia. Okay. Yep. Any more questions?
I have one last question.
Yes, Rishti.
What's your message or aspirations for Brunei youth?
Okay, when we first started, we were the voice of people with dementia, because in Brunei, most people thought that we call them lalikan, or nyanyo, or so many languages, but we would like to say that orang tua ni, sometimes when they lose a bit of their memory and things like that, we have to take note that it's not natural. Yeah, it's a degeneration of the brain. It's just how fast is the progression. Yeah, I would like to say and recommend that you look into Understanding Alzheimer's in 3 minutes. It will explain to you how the brain works and why certain behaviors are such. Yeah. And for Brunei, because we have the Brunei Wawasan 2035, it's not too far away. And so we would like to aspire to what we do, to be a healthier Brunei. As I said, prevalence of NCD in Brunei is very high, and it's more alarming now that younger people are obese or even having diabetes, So we can regress that, but we cannot regress the progression of dementia. So what we do, and I always believe that dementia is a life cycle approach. Start them young, so that when we age healthy, we age active. So working with the Brunei Vision 2035, yeah, Dementia Brunei aspires for Brunei to be healthy, to be aging well, youth to be mentally as well as physically well, to the Vision 2035. Yeah. You may think it's a vision that's hard to achieve, but no, together we can do it, in a whole nation approach. Yeah. Not only are we helping ourselves, we're helping our family if we love them. Yeah. We want to be well together. And same time for Brunei, it is also helping our country in our way as yeah, Negara Brunei Darussalam. It's about health is free in Brunei. It doesn't mean that just because that the government take care of us in health, it's okay, we are sick. No, your family suffers too because they have to care for you. So everybody is connected, all through, no matter what age you are. We are a society, we are an inclusive society. What happens to us? What happened to our family? What happened to the country? Anyone, even our neighbor, affects us. We have to learn that, and once we agree it and we work with the public sector, private sector, NGO, and the community, we can do it, So we can start it, and each one play their own role, we can do it, especially now in COVID-19, we realize that a lot of youth are having mental issues as well due to social distancing and so many issues, domestic violence and things like that. And mind you, our youth are our leaders. If they're not well now, what kind of leader do you think we get, in 20, 30 years? So we all have to take care of each other. Yeah, so if, to answer your question again, what is my wish for Brunei? For Brunei to be well, healthy, actively aging, and to be a model country, first to ourselves, then to ASEAN, then to the world. Sounds a big order, but no, we can do it. I can hear Shipo and Irna's mind ticking. Yeah. Any more questions?
I think looks like there's no more. I'm looking through as well.
I can't see the chat because I didn't put it on. So
Yeah, there's no other questions on the chat. Yeah. Okay.
If there's any and it comes in, just send it to me. I'll gladly answer.
Yeah. So I guess there's one in the chat. Someone's requesting for a group photo. Typical Brunei style. So I guess
Okay.
yeah. So I guess everyone has to switch on their cameras then.
Can you make like the screen? Okay.
Maybe we give time also, Dr. Teo, kalau yang belum bertudung.
Yeah. Could we do a simple one and we'll do a crazy one?
A crazy one.
Yeah.
Oh, Asma says she wants to escape the group photo. Pasal no tudong.
No, I gotta.
We'll photoshoot you. We'll photoshoot you with the
You put a photo lah on your profile.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you have a good takeaway from this. There's so much more to discuss, and I was really running through so that we've got more time to discuss because I saw Rushdie giving me the 5 minutes left for the first topic. So yeah.
Asma said to wait, so we'll wait for her.
Good job.
Can you help?
Yaniza sama Shafika.
Can you help?
Oh, someone needs help, I hear.
You got a 100 million.
That's my son.
And then because we got
How is Akila?
Pardon me, Datin?
How is Akila? So proud of her. I shared her.
Oh,
And warning signs, yeah,
Yeah.
globally, and a woman from Africa said they'd like to use it. Thank you and credit it to her.
she's here.
Yeah.
Adibah, sini kau.
Hi.
Come here. Wait, come here now.
Kediba, I don't want to duduk there.
You can say hi.
Hi, Kediba.
Hi, that's Datin.
No.
You remember the postcard you drew?
Kediba, you buy that laptop.
Thank you so
You
much.
buy,
Yeah.
you buy at the shop.
No problem.
You buy at the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will count, yeah? I will do the screenshot.
Look at screen.
Okay. Okay, we'll count. 3, 2, 1.
Tunggu.
Oh,
My
okay.
background. No, my background. Habis, sayang.
You don't know
It
how to
looks
do that
fine.
yet.
I want this one. And then
Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, freestyle.
And the crazy one.
Crazy one.
Oh, it's my hand's missing.
Okay, I'm just. Okay,
Is that crazy enough or?
Yeah.
done.
wait.
Okay,
Okay.
sudah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. Please stay safe and take care.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Hi. Thanks.
You
I
too,
guess-
Datin.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.